Hello, everybody. I'm recording this for the second time because the first time I forgot to turn on my microphone. So let's not do that again. But welcome to today's update video. This video has been a long time coming. I've thought about making something like this for a very, very long time. I've been holding off on it for various reasons, but it's kind of inspired by Gert's video, Gertania's. I was kind of planning on making something like this before, and I think after watching his, I really felt like this is something I want to talk about as well. But I'm gonna go into a lot of things. Not just sort of like my feelings towards Siege, but also sort of a new direction for my channel. Because I've been doing this now for, 10 years. And when you've been doing something for 10 years, it gets to the point where you're kind of just autopiloting it. And I feel like I personally need something that really motivates me. And in that sense, I've been wanting to sort of try something else. And I'm doing that for sort of multiple reasons, which I'll touch on a little bit later, but mostly just boils down to sustainability, but also sort of giving me something new challenging. But essentially what I'll be doing moving forward is, starting tomorrow, I'll be changing up drastically the way I approach content. My current approach has been, I've been recording for multiple weeks and then edited for multiple days, and I enjoy making that sort of like fast-paced, heavily highlighted content, but it isn't sustainable, and I really want to stress that it isn't sustainable. It hasn't been for a while. It hasn't been for years, and this is something that I've been way too slow at dealing with. But I think now I'm in a spot where I literally don't have a choice, and I want to make that very clear, because last time when I was sort of talking about that, I ended up getting a lot of comments about how I shouldn't make that choice. But I'm telling you, I don't have a choice to make in the matter. But with that said, I'm excited about it. I think that now, especially with this sort of state of siege that we're in, I think now's a perfect time for me to take this approach with, I just want to make, I want to be able to provide the Siege community with a niche that just doesn't exist, and hasn't existed, really, to be honest with you. And that is to provide the Siege community with proper tactical 5v5 gameplay. There's obviously been creators throughout the years that have done, the ranked gameplay or whatever, the solo queue heavily, or hell, even when they do play in a stack, it's mostly used lone wolf gameplay. I want to be able to provide the Siege community with something proper Siege, to be exact. And I think especially now with sort of Macy taking a step back from Siege, I think, I especially think that there's a hole in the tactical gameplay, but Macy's never really had the 5v5 approach, which is something that I will be providing as well. And it's something that I'm excited about. I'm really excited to be able to deliver on a niche that doesn't exist. And it's also due in part because I do want to do something different. I've been doing what I've been doing for a very long time. But it also boils down to something that is more sustainable, because that is an issue nowadays as well. And I'll get more into that later. But it's also because I think that type of content is something that the Siege community really needs right now. I think, with the sort of like year 7, year 8, year 9 approach that the game had, where it aimed to appeal to a lot of COD players, and that is something that I, after speaking with devs, I know that was the case that was sort of happening. Ubisoft corporate trying to appeal to COD players, and the game just turning way faster, TDM meta. I really think that did a number on Siege. And, you know, now we have people in high champ that don't even know basic mechanics, you know. Just the other week, I played a champ stack who reinforced off Freezer and didn't make a rotate on Oregon Basement. And if you can't make a default setup on one of the most default maps in the game, you're not good at the game, even though you're champ. And I feel like I can really help out the Siege community by providing, you know, proper, smart content for Siege. So that will be what I'll be doing starting tomorrow. And the best part about that is I will also be able to post a lot more often. My goal initially, especially once I get home from the Munich major, which I'll be there. If you're there, please come say hi. I'd love to meet you. But coming home from the Munich major especially, I want to be able to sort of aim for at least a bi-daily upload schedule. Preferably, if I can, I want to be able to upload daily. But that'll be sort of the second step. To start with, I want to be able to upload bi-daily, preferably. But it'll be a process, and it'll be a long process, and I hope you guys are in for that. Some of you guys already know what kind of content this will be. I already did a couple of sort of test screenings of that sort of content earlier this year, and it was pretty well received. Maybe if the viewership was a bit lower on it or whatever, but it doesn't matter, because that type of content did really well for what it is. And that will be what I will be doing going forward. And I'm excited about it, and I hope you guys are excited about it too. It's different, but I think I can provide something that the Siege community desperately needs right now. But sort of talking on that note about Siege. Siege has been in a very weird spot for a very long time now, and it's weird because I feel like the Siege community nowadays have gotten into such a weird self-loathing state where people just cheer on when the game does bad, yet they're playing it every single day. And I really feel lost in the community right now. I really feel like I just don't... I don't feel connected to the Siege community at all nowadays. I feel like anyone who sort of had like a similar approach to the game as I do has left because of, you know, the TDM meta or whatever that kind of ruined the game for them. But I do want to say, like, right now, like over the last year or so, with a lot of the changes that they've been doing to the game itself, even if cheating has ruined it, I've been enjoying the game. It's gotten a lot more tactical recently. Like, if you genuinely play tactical Siege, you do get rewarded for it, even if the majority of the community don't do that. But I feel like it's also because of like my approach to the game. You know, a lot of content creators have talked about how they're bored or whatever of the game. But I think it's very easy to say that you're bored, you know, when you're playing, you know, Doc, Oregon Basement, Oregon Top Floor, you know, for the 10th year in a row. Then yeah, of course you're gonna be bored. But I think if you have sort of like my approach of playing every single operator, you know, playing every single map, you know, I don't ban planes and lair and labs. I genuinely learned those maps and I'm good at them. And I also play all objectives, you know. One thing that I'm planning to do with my new content is I want to be able to provide people with all of this off-meta content that no other content creator would do. You know, no other content creator plays bar and staged on Clubhouse. Most content creators will probably avoid playing, you know, Emerald Plains or Labs or Lair. And I want to be able to provide people with proper content on how to get good on these maps. And I think my approach to Siege and really sort of taking advantage of, you know, all the replayability that Siege actually does have if you go out of your way to actually play it. I want to be able to show people that it's like Siege is genuinely a really, really fun game when you embrace it for what kind of game that it's supposed to be. You know, Siege is not supposed to be Call of Duty with extra steps. It's supposed to be Siege. You know, the utility matters. You know, doing proper setups, playing all the operators, it matters. It really does. And in that sense, I think I can provide something that no other content creator really does provide. Because obviously, I don't know, it's been quite weird lately. Because yes, the anti-cheat has been terrible, right? There's no way to sugarcoat that. But I feel like with that wave of sort of the anti-cheat sucking ass, we've also gotten this weird wave of people that are now coming in and acting as if the game, like the core game, is bad. And I could not disagree with that more. I think the meta right now is in a quite good state, besides maybe a couple of operators being a bit too strong. Obviously Blitz and Blackbeard. But, and don't get me wrong, like they could absolutely do more balancing changes, you know, more buffs and nerfs. Just do more, just to keep things fresh and keep people on their toes and really challenge, you know, the people that are slow at adapting. I think that would do well for the game. But still, I think even if we didn't do that, I still think that, you know, core Siege is a good game. It is still a good game that I could recommend to other people. Obviously, you know, maybe I wouldn't recommend it to someone who's like really high champ, because then you're just going to play cheaters every single game. But, you know, if you're not high champ, it's really not that bad. I'm, you know, my stack plays, you know, just the elo underneath that right now, at least. You know, we play in like high diamond, low champ, and we don't really get cheaters at all. I mean, it's like 1 in 10 games, and if I play unranked, I don't get cheaters at all. And like, I would recommend the game to people, but I feel like right now we're in this weird state where, like, you know, every single content creator, every single pro, or whatnot, community member, is like, you're just recommending people against playing the game. So we're not getting any new or returning players back in, and then you're surprised that the player count is lower, which is just like, yeah, that happens, you know? If you don't recommend people to come eat at your restaurant, then don't be surprised when you don't have customers. And I think that's one thing that a lot of, you know, creators or pro players kind of fail to realize, is that they're, you know, you're ambassadors for the game. And your goal at the end of the day is to actually get people to play it. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be providing criticism. We absolutely should. Obviously, yeah, like I mentioned already, the anti-cheat is in shambles, but I think the game itself is good. I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing it every single day. You know, people ask me, you know, how can I still enjoy playing the game after 10 years? But I think it's because I genuinely play proper Siege. You know, I built a career out of playing this game, and I enjoy it. I have fun playing Rainbow Six Siege. And I want to keep playing Rainbow Six Siege. You know, obviously, a lot of content creators have talked about, you know, going variety, or, you know, making another main game, you know, to sustain their career or whatever. I don't want to do that. If anything, I'll go down with the ship. But no, like I want to create content, but I also want to be a part of Siege, because I genuinely, as a player, love playing the game. And again, I think that's very much due to my approach of the game. That if you're, you know, curious about how to enjoy Siege, take some notes. Genuinely, it goes really, really far to have fun with the game when you're actually playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. But yeah, I think I really wanted to get that off my chest, because I've been in a very weird position over the last, you know, year or so about the state of things and what I want to do, and, you know, obviously juggling what I think is sustainable and juggling what I think is, you know, best for me or whatever, but also juggling what I want to do. And like I said, I want to create content, and I want to create it on Siege. Even if I want to sprinkle in, you know, the occasional variety in there or whatever. You know, baseline, I want to play Siege. That's what I want to do. But again, going back to sort of talking about the new approach and sort of sustainability. Part of the reason why I'm changing up the way that I do content, the way I do my Siege content, is also to create a much more sustainable, form of content creation, both in terms of, I mean, just my own mental health. Obviously, when you're spending weeks recording for one video, and you're spending days editing it, and then it ends up getting, 100k views, which is still amazing, by the way. A lot of people have belittled, what has ended up with my channel or whatnot. But, if you get even 50,000 to 100,000 views, that is a really, really good thing. But when it comes to sort of how YouTube looks at it, then, you're uploading once a month, and you're doing that, it isn't enough in terms of YouTube. It isn't something that is sustainable at all. And that has, been a choice that I've been making throughout the years. But it's not something that I really want to do in the future. Again, like I said, I'm excited about the new sort of content that I can provide. And it's something that I'm genuinely passionate about, and something that I do think could like improve the game, but also improve the community, which I think is in desperate need of improving at the game. But yeah, like I mentioned, it's for the last few years, I've been the sole bread maker in my family. And if I only post one video a month and I make, $300 on YouTube a month, obviously more added on with the fact that I stream on Twitch every single day, but it just isn't something that's sustainable. I can't upload that little. And also, with shorter videos, which those videos end up being as well, they also make a lot less on top of that. And it is something that I genuinely have to take into account, especially when I'm in a position that I wanna create content on Siege. I don't want to move over to Battlefield. I don't want to move over to Call of Duty. Hell no. But I want to make videos. I love making videos. I love seeing you guys' reactions to my videos. I love reading the comments. I love talking with the people in my Discord about everything, whether it's my videos or Siege. I love seeing people's reactions, even if the videos necessarily haven't gotten, the views that I think that they deserve lately. I'm genuinely passionate about when other people, like how other people feel about it. I mean, hell, the thumbnail from yesterday was lovely reading all the comments regarding the thumbnail. Yeah, it's something that I want to do, and I'm excited about it. Yeah. And oh god, I lost my train of thought. The first time I recorded this, when I forgot to unmute my microphone, that was fire. But yeah, no, sort of like summarizing, I enjoy Siege. People think it's weird, in some of my latest videos. I find it weird that I'm having fun with Siege, having fun with Siege X, having fun with Denari, having fun, borderline. That's illegal apparently. But no, I enjoy it. I want to keep doing it. And I'm excited about being able to deliver something new and fresh to the Siege community. And if you're excited about that too, which I know some of you are already, I got comments yesterday from people asking me to make more of those kinds of videos, and you got your wish. But yeah, if you're excited about all that, then absolutely do feel free to like those kinds of videos, comment on them, share them. It really does help a lot. Because one thing I noticed, and I noticed this when I was watching a friend, another YouTuber called Potato McWhiskey. He sort of made a breakdown video talking about his sort of mental health, and sort of how his community spiraled down with the release of Civ 7, which by no means was a great game. But he also mentioned, and something that I really resonated with, both mental health wise, but also how his sort of community had drastically changed to the point where he didn't even recognize his own community anymore. Because he felt like he had built a community that was a lot more, understanding or whatnot, and was in there for the fun of the game and everything. And I feel like I really thought that that was the case myself too. You know, my approach to the game has always been on the fun side of things, and I haven't always been happy. And I think, you know, especially after heavy metal with the quick match 2.0 changes that they brought in, I really spiraled downwards in terms of how negative I was about this about the game, and I really don't think that was healthy. But one thing I've noticed is that that's been tenfold outside of my own community, with just how negative people are about the game, and, you know, how it's just a permanent, you know, toxic environment where people just shit talk it, yet they still play it every single day. And it's just gotten really, really exhausting seeing how people are just permanently negative. Not just like, not necessarily in the game itself, but sort of like outside of the game. You go on Reddit, or you go on Twitter, or you go on YouTube, and it's just negativity after negativity after negativity, and it's really mentally exhausting. And I feel like I'm one of the last beacons that are, you know, still around in Siege, that isn't just constantly shitting on the game. And in that sense, like, yes, that does make me feel like I'm doing something important. But at the same time, it's very exhausting. Very, very exhausting. I mean, thankfully, I have, you know, really good friends, you know, and I have Gertania. I feel like Gertania is one of the few content creators out there that can resonate with my approach of the game. And that's very nice. But it does definitely feel like it's us up against the mountain, you know. But I'm passionate about what I can provide for the game, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And I really hope that you guys will see this sort of like new approach to my content, and you will enjoy it. I think it is something that will be a good thing for the community as a whole. So I can only hope that it does well. But yeah, I've probably been yapping way too much. I probably repeated myself a million times. I had a couple of notes to sort of follow, but yeah, I tend to yap a lot. If you've been watching my Twitch stream, you know that, you know how it be. But I just had some closing words. Again, starting tomorrow, the new videos will start shipping. I'm aiming to do it bi-daily. I might fuck up. I might miss doing it bi-daily, but it'll be something that I'm at least aiming to achieve. And I really hope that you guys enjoy that, and, you know, help out in any way, shape, or you can. Whether it's liking the videos, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos. But also, you know, if there's any way that you can, obviously, yeah, we have the Twitch stream. If you haven't been following the Twitch stream, you absolutely should jump over there, and you should follow the stream. I stream basically every single day. I stream Siege on a daily basis. And I have fun. But also, you know, if there's any way that you can sort of help in this sort of like transitionary period, you know, we have the channel memberships here on YouTube. You get some nice little badges and everything, helping out. Or obviously on the Twitch stream, there's a subscription there as well. It really does go a long way, and I very much do appreciate it, because I think this is going to be a very stressful period, and anything that helps really does go a long way to help. Yeah. And again, I mentioned it earlier, but if you're heading to the Munich Major, I will be there. Ubisoft Nordic invited me, so I will be there. I will be co-streaming. I think we're co-streaming on the quarterfinals? No, semifinals. I think. Either the quarters or the semis. And I think I might also be playing in the show match there. So I hope to see you guys there. If you are, please don't hesitate to come up to me, say hi. I love meeting people when I go to events. It's one of the main reasons why I want to go to events in the first place. So please, do come say hi if you're there. Yeah, that was it. If you guys have any sort of questions about things, please do not hesitate to write them down in the comments. I read all the comments. You might not think that that's, you know, what a million plus YouTuber does, but no, I if there's one thing I've been doing, you know, consistently over these last 10 years is I do read the comments, every single one of them pretty much. And that one, I won't ever stop doing that. If there's anything I'm super passionate about when it comes to content creation, it's to involve you guys one way or another. And whether that boils down to you know, talking to you guys in the comments, or if you guys have any ideas for things that you want to see me do or whatnot, I'm all ears. Part of the sort of new direction of my content is I was talking a lot with a friend called Sinvicta. Some of you may know him. He's also on YouTube. He's an amazing dude. And I was sort of talking to him about my approach contra him approach, and we were discussing a lot of things, and I think that really like helped me realize what I could have done so much better over the years when it comes to like approaching content. So thank you, Sinvicta, if you're watching this for whatever reason. I appreciate that. Because that has influenced a lot about why I want to do the things that I want to do moving forward. And again, I want to make it very clear, even though it's not really to the point that I have a choice with the changes that I'm creating here, I am genuinely excited about the new approach to my content that I will be taking. Because, again, I think it's going to help my mental health a lot more to have a more sustainable thing. But also, I'm excited to see how I can improve the Siege community, because I genuinely think that that is something that that type of content can achieve. And I'm also excited to just involve you guys more, you know, by uploading more videos. I will also be able to talk to you guys a lot more. So if you have any sort of suggestions, please do not hesitate to leave them down in the comments, because I will be reading them. And yeah. Very nice. Oh, what the fuck? Very nice. My thumb didn't work. Anyways, I'm gonna head out. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the new approach, the new Kini approach. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you watch all this way, that's really impressive. But I'm gonna be heading off now, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.